Hello everyone, I'm back. This is Amanda and I'm back using one of my very favorite coveted and hoarded collections from Simple Stories, their Simple Vintage Seas collection. This is the first time I have dove into this collection. I'm using just a couple of pieces of printed paper as I just showed you, and then I'm going to use this one here from the Solids selection. I'm going to be scrapbooking a picture that my dad sent to my boys at least maybe 10 to 15 years ago. I'm not even sure. And he wrote a little note on it. And I thought it would be really cute to scrapbook this picture. It's a little bit beat up because it was put up in my kid's room for a while. But I still thought it would be really cute to scrapbook this page using this set since he was out on a sailboat at the time. So what I decided to do is I just grabbed a piece of really cheap white cardstock. It's actually a piece of the paper that comes inside of your, when you buy your scrapbook, and inside the plastic sleeves, sometimes they put a piece of paper. It's actually one of those because I just needed it to layer on the pieces of paper here. So I decided to start out with the paper that has the lighthouse on it. And because I knew I was going to cover up the other side, I just decided to tear off the lighthouse and just use that part, and then I will save the other side for another layout because it's really cute and I just didn't want to cover it all up. I also used the striped paper, as you can see on the other side, and then I layered just a little bit of the B side of that lighthouse paper there with the red, and it has like red and nets on it. I decided to just kind of do that just to bring out the red just a little bit more since it's in the lighthouse. I have a lot of this collection. As you can see, I have those layered chipboard, I forget what they're called. They're not frames, but they're those circular chipboard pieces, and they have like all of these pieces that you can layer on, or you can just put them flat as they are. So I decided I wanted to use the one with the sailboat on it. I also pulled an anchor out, which I kind of put on top of the compass, but I am going to move that later. And then I have another piece of chipboard there that says keep calm and sail on. And at this point, I'm going through the bits and pieces. I have 2 packs of this. It comes with 2 different packs. One of them is called like nautical pieces, and then the other one might just be called bits and pieces. I'm not quite sure now, as I don't have it in front of me as I am filming this voiceover. But I'm just going through and I'm picking out some things I think I might use. From the chipboard stickers, I'm taking Sail Away off from there, and that is going to be my title. I had to cut out quite a bit of this as I was kind of just playing around, looking through things, not using a lot of things, and so I didn't want you to have to watch me like thumb through everything and put everything away and make decisions, but I do try to show you when I'm picking out the main pieces. So from this bits and pieces pack, I pulled out a sailboat, some oars that are down at the bottom, those tickets up at the top. I don't end up using them. I love them and I think they're really, really cute and they go great with the theme of this page, but I just don't end up using them in the end. Okay, so to map my photo, I decided that I wanted to both use that wood grain with the little birds on it and the blue solid piece just to map my photo. As you can see, that wood grain piece is not wide enough, so I decided to just cut a couple of squares. You'll see me cut the second one out here as I kind of decide. At this point, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do, and I thought maybe I would just use the one square, but when I started to look at it, I decided that I wanted to cut a second square and just kind of put them in opposite corners. So you'll see me kind of thinking about it here like, what should I do? I checked it out first and I thought, no, I want it to be a little more cohesive here. So I decided to cut out the second square. So I'm going to have those in opposite corners. I do scuff this one up as well, but I don't make you watch the whole thing. I don't think. Nope, I don't. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put them behind the photo like this. Just kind of kitty corner from each other. And then I'm going to back the whole thing on top of the light blue solid paper that you can get with this Simple Stories kit as well. It is a separate purchase. It does not come with the pattern paper, so you do have to buy that one separately. I got all of this stuff from my little scrapbook store. She had a ton of it. I don't know if she still has it because this was a few months ago that I bought this kit. And yes, I have been hoarding it for months now. But I finally was digging through my stash and I found this picture of my dad and I thought that it was absolutely perfect to use this collection. So I decided to pull it out. Here I'm just kind of folding down and tearing a little bit of the blue background. I just didn't like how it had so much blue there. My eye just didn't care for it. So I decided to just kind of fold it down and tear it a little bit and give it a little interest. I forgot that top one I was going to cover up, so I did all that work for no reason on the top, but it is still on the bottom piece. So we still have that effect. And here's where that big circular chipboard piece is going to go. I just thought it fit really perfectly, like right in that kind of blank area on the picture up there. And I do double up the foam here because I put foam on the back of the photo, so it's sticking up off from the page. And so in order to keep this circle laying flat, I had to double up the foam on the top area that's going to lay against the very back of the layout. So I went ahead and did that. And then on this chipboard piece, I'm only putting a little bit of foam on the bottom since the other part is going to lay on top of that circular chipboard place. And I love how this all kind of fit together here. I decided to move that compass over to the side because I went up a little higher when I put my picture down than I had originally had it, which is perfectly fine. I really like how it turns out in the end. The way that it is. So I'm happy that I moved it up a little bit more. I think everything works pretty well like that. Definitely needed to scuff up the edges of all of the little pieces of ephemera because, you know, with a simple vintage set, it's really hard to leave anything with a straight edge. It just doesn't seem to fit with these papers. I always have to scuff them up. That's just me. I know lots of people do leave it straight and they probably love it. But for me, I just really need to scuff everything up and make it all look vintage and worn and used. So I'm sticking a few of these larger, I don't know if it's coral or what that is. I don't know too much about what's underneath the sea. But you know, that kind of look like some kind of a plant element there. I put a big red one up on the top and I really like how that looks sticking out from behind that chipboard. And then I put the light blue down at the bottom there. And I'm just kind of looking through my sticker sheet. I decided that instead of that little anchor, I wanted to put the wheel here on that. I like the little saying on it. It says, "Sail away with me." And I liked that sentiment. I thought it was really cute. And I liked the wheel instead of the compass there. And I've already got a compass, so I figured it would be okay to cover up the one that was on the chipboard piece. So I'm going to go ahead and stick down these nature bits here back behind there so that it's sticking out from the side. And then I just kind of like fluff up the edge or curl up the edge a little bit so it's sticking away from the back of the page. I'm going to do the same with this blue one, but I didn't like all this extra white. It wasn't as noticeable to me on the red one, but on the blue one, I really noticed it. So I cut off just a little bit of the extra white. And then I'm going to do the same thing and tuck this just under that bottom left-hand corner. And I'm sticking it up with just a teeny tiny piece of foam just because of the dimension that's behind part of it with the curled up paper there on the along the side. So I just put a little bit of foam underneath the bottom on the one side just so that it would kind of match up. I went ahead and stuck my photo down as you saw there. I'm just making sure that it's straight. I kind of lined it up with the background paper, but I wanted to make sure the bottom part was pretty straight too. And it seems to be. So I'm going to go ahead and get my chipboard piece in place and all of that cluster up at the top, which was really simple since that chipboard piece is like the biggest part of it. So it was really, that cluster came together pretty easily. I didn't have to think a whole lot with that one. those big cluster pieces just make it so easy. I do realize that when I put this down to begin with that it's a little crooked. Off camera, I will fix it. I had to kind of tear it away and then glue it back down. It was a little bit annoying. It's not too bad off, but I noticed that it was enough that it irritated me a little bit. So I do fix that in a little while. I'm just going ahead and just getting everything stuck down on this main cluster up at the top so that I can work on the bottom with getting the title on, and then I create a bit of a cluster there on the bottom as well. Okay, so I'm gonna go back into the bits and pieces here, the nautical bits I think it is, and I'm just kind of playing around with some more of these pieces here because I felt like maybe I wanted to add some more to the bottom, but when I started adding it to the bottom, I thought, well, what if I put another color up at the top? Would that be too much? So I tried it out and I actually really liked it up on the top as well, with just, so I could have a couple of colors represented up there on the top. So I did the same thing. I took that bigger light blue one. I tucked most of it underneath the cluster, but I like how it looks just kind of peeking up there from the bottom. Doing the same here with a dark blue, just a small one. Not sure what to do with that anchor. I will end up using it, but I wasn't quite sure what to do with it at that point, so I just set it aside. As far as my title goes, I kind of played around with it here a bit before I made my decision that, yep, I'm going to put it right there. I just didn't know if I wanted to cover up all of those pieces of ephemera, but I actually liked how it looked. So I went ahead and put those up on some foam, and I decided I wanted to add one more little red piece of ephemera down here, and I like how that looks sticking out there. I'm going to go ahead and add my oars. I will put some foam underneath just the ends where the oar piece is. The straight piece, I do not put any foam under because I'm going to tuck it underneath that anchor, which I do put up on some foam as well. I thought that looked really cute when I placed it there. And there's my chipboard anchor. I went ahead and placed him up in the top cluster. So now I have this little sailboat and I'm trying to figure out where I want him. And I decide I want him to be part of my title cluster. I'm going to put him kind of over top of the ephemera that I kind of put sticking out from underneath the photo and the title. And I liked how he looked there. I roughed him up a little bit just because, this is vintage and everything I needed to look vintagey. So I went ahead and stuck him down there, put just a little tiny bit of adhesive foam strips just in a couple of areas so that it kind of stood away from the paper, only in a couple of areas. I don't put it everywhere. I had that punch sitting up there because I had added glue when I moved that big chipboard piece. Remember I said I was going to move it at some point to make it straight, so now it is straight, but I had to glue down because it kind of ripped the paper off the back. So I went ahead and did that, and that is why those punches were on there. I'm putting a few little enamel dots on just because I had them and I thought they would be cute. And for the very last part of this, I believe we're at the end here, I'm going to add some white splatters with some watered down white acrylic paint. They already have in the background, which kind of looks like water spray, but I wanted it to look even more like water spray, just more defined water spray. And so I used the watered down white acrylic paint, and I went pretty liberal. You're not going to see me do all of it. I'm going to cut away because I splattered paint for quite a while, and a lot of it is over there on that side that's pretty light colored, so you don't really see it as much on the screen as you do on, in person. But I do go ahead and I put some up top too. I just liked how it kind of felt like you were out on the water and the water was spraying around you. All right, so that is it. Here we go with the slow down. You can see all of the dimension, and I love that white acrylic paint. I just think it really lends to the mood. At this point, it's not dry yet, but it really looks cool when it is dry. I wish it would have bumped up a little bit like that, but it doesn't. But I really love what it adds. I love all the dimension in this, and you just can't go wrong with simple stories, simple vintage, anything. All of it is just super gorgeous. And there's so many things that you can choose from if you want to get all the bits and pieces. So I hope y'all enjoyed this layout today and found some inspiration. If you would like to see more videos, make sure you hit subscribe. I would love to have you. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye for now.